Hey guys, Chris of the Polish Geek, and welcome to the review of the third season of Squid Game, which I have to say, wow, it's still stuck in my head because I had such a great time, but it was also very sad, tragic, and really emotional, but we'll get to it later. But first I have to say, I had a really great time. Like, I literally binged it. Like, I woke up very early in the morning, and then I just, thankfully I don't have to work today, so I woke up early in the morning and then I just binged it, and I'm still so many emotions stuck in my head actually all after that, because wow. But I will say, and I'll talk more about it later because I will make it clear, there will be some spoilers in this review. I will try my very best to really not get into any details because I don't really want to spoil the whole thing, but I will unfortunately give some vague spoilers when I start talking about the ending, because I will now talk a little bit about the ending. I'll tell you more later, but now I'll talk a little bit about the ending. Is that I truly feel like, even though they're saying that this is the last season, I think that, and I'm hoping very much that they are planning to tell more stories from this world and universe, because truly this didn't very much feel like a complete story. More like, I guess, more like a conclusion to this particular story, but not a conclusion to a larger, grander story. Absolutely not. And because there are rumors they're planning to start a spin-off of Squid Game within the same universe about different characters and all that, and I'm really hoping that's the case, because as I just said, the ending is kind of like a completion of this arc, but certainly not the completion of the larger story in the universe. And I'll talk a little bit about it later, but first I will say is this was truly emotional and really tragic. So if you're expecting more heartbreaks and all that, because the very first season of Squid Game had plenty of heartbreaks and betrayals, backstabbing, friends turning against each other, enemies, and the greed of human nature and all that. First season had all of it, and so did season 2, but it ended on a gigantic cliffhanger, and season 3 very much has all that as well. And I have to say, when they were saying that practically season 2 and 3 will feel like part of the same season, that's very much the case, because season 3 practically feels like nothing more than just part 2 of season 2. And yeah, I'm not surprised when the director said that he filmed them both together and just split them into parts, because it's pretty much it. Season 3 literally feels like nothing more than just part 2 of season 2, really. The new games are all pretty fresh, although they do give you some, they do feel like they resemble some of the later games of the very first season, but with their unique spin, such as, and here is a gigantic spoiler, but I won't be surprised if people predicted it. I mean, it's in the title after all, but the last game is once again Squid Game, although this time it's called Sky Squid Game because they are on very high pillars. So, but then again, I predict that lots of people probably predicted it because, again, the show is called Squid Game after all, so it's natural that they would go with the Squid Game for the very last game once again. But yes, the games are very intense and all that, and as I said, there are plenty of heartbreaks, moral dilemmas, like you'd very much expect from Squid Game. But as I said, I was literally heartbroken, even teared a little bit, and I rarely tear during the movies. I'm one type of guy that's very hard to make me cry during the movies. I often do feel sad inside, I rarely tear, but there were some moments here that I did, because this is one of the saddest and most tragic things I've ever seen. But don't get the wrong idea, it was a really excellent season. I'm very much happy with that, but expect plenty of heartbreaks and all that. And there are also some pretty unpredictable twists and turns I didn't see coming, but they were really interesting. And now we'll also get to a little bit about the ending, because again, I don't really want to spoil it, but I will say this, as much as I love season 3, I'm really hoping this is not the end, because if this really is the end of the whole series, then it does kind of feel like we're back where we started, really. That's what the ending feels like, because they were saying that season 3 is the last season, but I'm really hoping it's only the last season of maybe of this show Squid Game, but not the last season of the larger, greater universe, because this is certainly a conclusion to Gi-han's story, but I wouldn't really say it's a conclusion to the universe. Like, in fact, if it comes to this world and universe, it more like feels like at the very end, like we're back when we started. It very much does feel like a conclusion to Gihan's arc, and it very much is. And you'll see what I'm talking about when you see the ends. But I'm not spoiling it, although you might already be guessing. But for the sake of someone who's not guessing, I will not give exact details of how it ends. But all I will say is that it very much is a completion of Gihan's story arc, but when it comes to the universe and the world as a whole, it feels like we are back where we started, really. So I'm really hoping that we really get more shows and stories in this universe, because again, the larger, grander story of this universe is absolutely not complete. Quite the opposite. If anything, it's only beginning, actually. And the very last scene does even seem to be like hinting at a spin-off they're planning, which I'm really hoping they will really go through with that. But overall, Season 3 of Squid Game is really excellent, and I had such a great time with it. It was very heartbreaking, very emotional, and constantly keeps you just on the edge of your seat. As I just said, I literally binged it because I couldn't just stop watching. I was so invested and so engaged into it. Like, I was just literally glued to my couch and couldn't just get up because I was just like so much wanting to watch the next episode. So yes, Season 3 of Squid Game is pretty much what we all expect from Squid Game. The games are really intense, the story is really engaging and interesting, and we so much care about what happens to all the characters. And as I said, there are plenty, and I mean plenty of heartbreaks and backstabs, all that, probably a lot more than we actually all hoped we would get. But yes, get ready to be very, very heartbroken, because they're just like, because Season 3 of Squid Game has a lot of heartbreaks and all that. So here, guys, is my review of Season 3 of Squid Game. I very much recommend it if you love the first 2 seasons, that is. And press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and let's hope that they are very much having more stories. They're having more stories in this universe, because as I said, Gihan's story might be over, but the story of the universe of Squid Game as a whole, it feels like it's only really beginning. So again, thank you guys for checking out this video. Press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and let's all hope for more stories in this universe of Squid Game, and talk to you later. Bye!